All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with 5115. I am 51, and I'm with
15 over here. Hello, everybody.
We are talking, hot topic of our podcast right now is fantasy football. We are in a fantasy draft league together, and last week I put a beat down on the 15-year-old. But she says, you know what? It doesn't really matter. It's more about the Patriots than fantasy football. Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, I'm telling you. I strictly believe in that statement. First 2 weeks this season, I lost my fantasy football. Patriots played pretty good games. The first week they should have won, and then the second week they did win. And so I was content. I went 0-2 in fantasy, but I thought the Patriots they were doing okay. And this week I won my fantasy game, and look what the Patriots did. I'm telling you, I'm a firm believer of that. I like fantasy, but I also want my team to win.
The yin and the yang. I see what you're saying. So as we kick this off, we'll go with talking about some rookies, and then we'll go into good news, bad news. Then I believe we'll have our caller, and then we'll do the meatballs, and we're done.
Yeah.
All right. So my assessment of all the rookie quarterbacks. After 2 games, it's way too early.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Justin Fields can't play that good, can't play that bad. It's, Zach Wilson, because it's New York, everybody's just saying he's a failure.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous. And now Mac Jones had 3 interceptions, so he's a failure. It's so stupid. I don't get it. What's your take on
that? You can't write these guys off yet. It all depends on the matchups and the way, guys fit in with the team. It's not going to be so pretty right off the bat. You got to give the guys some time. At least even after the first season, you can't really say, okay, this guy sucks, because you never know. Like, guys can have bounce back years. So you can't write off everyone right now. Yes, Justin Fields did not play well at all. But remember, he wasn't playing with the first team during camp and during the past couple games until this week, until they named him the starter. Same with Mac Jones. These first 3 weeks have been a lot of learning experiences for them, and that's okay. But you can't let him end.
Too early to judge. It's too early to judge.
Exactly. And yes, Zach Wilson, he's in New York. You got to cut him some slack. You got to give him some time, because I think everybody in that organization is figuring it out. So,
but the same thing is happening in the reverse way. All of a sudden, people don't like Patrick Mahomes. They're like, it's like you can't win either way.
Right. And I think as he started to get bigger, the spotlight obviously comes more on him. And because he succeeded so much, and now he's all of a sudden, two losses in a row, could have been 3. And now everyone's starting to say, oh, he sucks. Like, give him some time.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the season.
We'll know who sucks. We'll know which rookies not suck, but we'll know which rookies it's going to be a long year after their 8th game.
Right. Exactly.
Because they've got maybe they'll play a team twice in their division.
Yeah.
Then the coach sees them grow, or the defense have just figured them out and the guy's screwed.
Sometimes, that's just how it works out. Are you high on any of them at the moment? Like, who's actually really good? Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I think if I was thinking of the quarterbacks, I'd probably say Trey Lance, because we haven't seen him that much. Because you don't know anyone. Jimmy G looked great.
Yeah, I like what they're doing with Lance over there. Kind of like that Taysom Hill sort of.
Yeah.
Good thing going on, but we'll see.
But that was a great game. Did you see the 37 seconds and no timeouts?
I ended up going to bed, but I saw the final drive. Like, I watched the highlights of the game. That's incredible. I mean, I think everyone started to write, like you said, people jumping to conclusions, judging guys way too early. They started off Rodgers week 1 and say, he gave up on Green Bay, and then he comes back and wins 2 games, pretty big games that he needed to win.
Pretty impressive.
Right.
Speaking of impressive, speaking of good news, bad news, there was such good news when Justin Tucker made that kick, and the bad news is he made that kick. Because if you see the angle when it's, where you see the crowd, and they did it in slow motion, it was so bad. It hit the crossbar, and all the Detroit fans are like just going like this. They're so excited. and then it just slowly trickles off. And as it does, you just see this total transformation of just like, oh, it was like when Kawhi Leonard. It was like when Kawhi Leonard hit that shot when he was on the Raptors. It was unbelievable. I thought he missed it. I was like, damn, because it hit the crossbar. It never goes. It never goes the other way. It always goes into the field of play.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I didn't see that angle. I obviously saw the kick, but I didn't see that angle. That was just, I mean, I was surprised the Lions played really well with them. Like, that was crazy. Like,
yeah.
I was surprised with that game entirely. I like that though. I think it's cool. You know, he broke a record. And it's also Justin Tucker. He's just so money. He's always been so good. And
if you can get to see that angle, because it's so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because they're just
terrible.
so happy, and then the ball just kind of trickles over.
Right.
And Justin Tucker he's an interesting dude. I think he's an opera singer.
Really?
Yeah, I think he sings opera.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. But that was good news, bad news. I believe we have a caller.
I think so. Should be coming on soon.
Yeah, there he is. My phone is on silent. So caller, just come on in.
Hey, Frank from South Glastonbury. How's it going, guys?
Great.
So in this memorable week, just going off your guys' stuff quickly is you talked about the rookies. Just remember, like, Peyton Manning set a record for interceptions when he was a rookie, and look where his career turned out, which was, as much as I don't, didn't never root for the guy for the most part. His career was pretty fantastic. So you got to give these guys probably till at least year 2 before you start even thinking of writing them off. That being said, this is a fairly monumental week in the NFL. And unfortunately, it's at one of the lower points for the Patriots, but this Brady versus Belichick, or Brady versus the Patriots reunion of sorts, it's a pretty substantial week in the NFL, as you're bringing a guy back who was just, possibly the greatest quarterback that ever lived. And he's coming back to a team that he played for almost 20 years, and won 6 Super Bowls there. So to kick that off, I have a quick trivia question, but I don't think, I would be absolutely shocked if either of you can get this. So in the year 2000, before the Drew Bledsoe injury in 2001, Tom Brady came in relief, and in the entire 2000 season, he threw 3 passes and completed only one of them. And that was obviously his first NFL completion in a real game, regular season game. Who did he throw that completion to? And it is, I'm going to give you a heads up, it is someone that is not normal, anyone you'd ever think of.
Marv Cook.
No, but it isn't. I do believe it was a tight end, and it wasn't
Ben
Coates.
Tight end. I was thinking tight end, but I can't. Can you give us an initial, something like that? Like, I honestly, I really couldn't.
RR.
Zeke
Did
Moab.
they play on any other teams?
No, I'll just give it to you because there's no way anybody's getting this without looking it up. Ron Rutledge.
Ronnie Rutledge.
All right.
So that was his first completion, and we've gone over this a lot, but that's just my little reflection on this is going to be this, is that
so we're buckling our belts. We're buckling our belts now.
Yes, for this part, I guess it is, but it's more a sentimental thing to say. I mean, again, I'm not Nostradamus here, but I don't imagine, and people probably said this about the Niners run when they went from Montana to Young and so forth, having a run like that. But as good as their run was, I don't think it was as long as the Patriots, and I don't think it was, they won 5 Super Bowls, I guess, if you take the one with Young into account. So the Patriots won 6, and it lasted like pretty much a full 20 years with that, whole Brady reign and so forth. So my thoughts on this are, so you get to that and you're bringing this guy back, and, the Patriots, on a low point, but I also think they're going to be in an upswing. And with the loss yesterday and kind of how bad it was for them, you finally started to hear, because now they did go out and get some people to play defense, and they got a couple other spots filled, and it looked like, well, they got the quarterback of the future, maybe, even though he's young. Like, you're starting to hear those Patriot fans, well, maybe it was Brady, and it was, Belichick had nothing to do with it. And Brady, Belichick's record without Brady is well below 500 as a coach career, and all that's starting to be true. So I would just say that I wish people would more embrace this meeting. And I hope, and it may have started today as Belichick does a morning radio interview every Monday morning, really early, like 6 o'clock in the morning on a Boston affiliate. And he started to say stuff, although I don't know if it was trying to make good or trying to make bad, because he was quoted in this as saying that they asked him kind of roughly, what is the deal with, what led to this and blah, blah, blah. And he kind of said that what led to the rift between you? And he said, there's no rift, like we're fine. Like, in so many words, that's what he said. But he also said that, Tom had a choice to make, and Tom made the best choice for him. And that he actually said he made what he felt was the best option for him playing for Tampa, which was, could do better things in so many words. Again, I'm paraphrasing, but he said in so many words.
He basically said, well, they had more than what we could give them.
Right. And so you almost make that, is that him playing nice in the sandbox and saying, hey, give the guy all his due. I got no hard feelings with him. Which I hope is the case. Or is he saying, hey, it was his choice. He went to Tampa. We had nothing to do with it, and stop blaming us for it and blah, blah, blah. But I think Belichick now is almost in a no-win situation, because I think with the way things are going and the fact that there's no way you can ever get, I don't care who they have, they're not getting back to that kind of success of basically winning 12 games every single season and getting to at least the AFC Championship and getting to a Super Bowl every couple of years. That's never going to happen again. It's not for that period of time. And so I just think it's a slippery slope here. And I think you got to give him his due, but I think you got to just start to understand it was a bit of both of them, but ultimately they put the people in place for him to succeed. But there's a lot of other guys that they could have had in that spot, and they probably, as a quarterback, and they would not have succeeded. So I guess where I'm going with this is just that I hope the Patriots fans don't, because this could turn on Belichick real quick. If this goes bad, especially with him choosing Mac, if this goes bad and this ends up being 4-4, I guess we're playing 17 games this year. So if it's 4-13 or 5-12, he might be. They'll probably give him one more year. But if he goes the next year and it don't start great, that might be the end of him. And he's not getting any younger. So
two things. Finish up, and then I have two things for you.
Okay. Yeah, I just think I wish they would almost embrace it, but I hope beyond hope that either you see it before the game, which myself and one of my children will be attending the game, but this week, and I hope to see either before the game the two of them, having a 2 or 3 minute conversation and a handshake, or after the game, kind of embracing. I hope that for the both of their sakes, that they don't go petty on this and just completely avoid each other before and after the game. I just really hope it doesn't go that route.
Two things for you. I'm going to ask a quick question, then I'm going to say what I feel about this. So my question for you, you can think about this while I talk about my next thing is, do you want him to break the record? Which, going how it is, it's probably going to be broken. And how would you feel about that? Like, how does that sit with you? And then my second thing is, to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind if some drama came out this week saying this and this happened and they don't have a good relationship. But I like that. Stir the pot a little bit. You know what? I hate to say it, but one of these guys is in the wrong. I don't believe that it ended peacefully. Like, that just doesn't seem right to me. There's something that happened, and I want that to come out, and I want to know what happened. And I want some drama. I want some drama leading up to the game. I don't mind it. I want to see which one of them is at fault for this, because I really think that it's one of them more than the other.
Well, I think to answer your question, that's inconceivable to think that he's not going to break it this way. I mean, he's going to probably do it in the first quarter. So
Yeah, but I'm saying, how
he
do you
needs
feel about it?
68 yards or whatever. So
I'm not saying
I don't
that.
feel bad about that, because it's going to happen whether it's against them or somebody else. And it's probably better that it's against them, because, he'll get a nice hand from the fans. I think with the way the team's going, they're going to probably sort of be on his side, not necessarily rooting for them to win the game, but they're not going to be against Tom. He's just done too much there. They're just not going to be against the guy. And then I will say this though, I was surprisingly, because I have been sort of rooting for him in the year and a half or whatever that he's been gone, but I was somewhat okay with them getting beat yesterday. And now, fine, if they win the rest of their games, that's all great. I did, as much as I think in his mind, he wanted to have that one undefeated season. To have him do that with another team would have been an awful feeling for Patriots fans, because they were so close in 2007 with that team. So I didn't want him to get an undefeated season with that team and be remembered for that. So in that respect, I was kind of happy. And as far as the thing that you talked about with hoping that some stuff comes out, I don't really know if there's all that much to it. I honestly think the bottom line is, yes, he was frustrated because they weren't going out to get him players. And I think the organization's role was, hey, listen, you're a 43-year-old quarterback or whatever he was at that time. What, we can't invest the whole future in you. We can't just go out and mortgage 10 years to please you for a year or two. And I think he got frustrated with that, because he's like, I know I only got a couple of years left, and I want to win, and I want to win more, and I want to be the greatest of all time. So I think that was the bottom line, is that they're like, we have to start going a different route. We can't just keep going year to year with you and not build for a future.
Yeah, I
hope that's all it was.
And I think talking about all this Brady stuff, as much as I root for the guy, it kind of puts a sour taste in my mouth. So to get that out, let's transition into the meatballs. Let's talk about it.
Talk to you guys.
All right, wait, caller, stay on just for a second. I want one quick little thing before you go to the meatballs. But great segue, by the way, because my head was exploding with all this Patriot talk. There's going to be controversy no matter what. Let's say they do the classy thing. They hug at the beginning of the game. They shake hands at the end of the game. Everybody's going to analyze that and be like, was that sincere? Was that? So there's no good option or ending to this game with their reaction to each other. It's just putting it out there. Let's go to the balls. All
right. So today we got, we've been going like family root past here, so I couldn't leave my Nonna out. We're going to my Nonna's meatballs today. Usually, obviously, always like them, so let's dive in today. There's never any complaints about her sauce. Never any complaints about her sauce. She always gets it done in that department. The meatballs themselves have a good, are seasoned. Again, another thing she never does wrong. She seasons them perfectly. My only critique would be, she doesn't put any bread in them, which I kind of like meatballs with bread a little bit more. That's just my preference, but some people might like these more. Easily an 8-8. It's not a question. Easily an 8-8. Nonna's meatballs, 8-8. That's the story. One ball, everyone knows the rules.
All right. And we will be teasing a potentially new sponsor, your sister's balls. We're in negotiation with them. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. We're still in the works. Can't give away too much, but.
All right. Yeah. It's a very catchy title. And speaking of catchy titles, this is the end of 5115, another fantasy football / meatball / Patriot infomercial. We'll see you later.
See you in the next one.